Matt and I came up with
I don't know.
the sequel for Harry Potter.
About that. Uh-oh.
Not,
You want to open this can of worms?
not like a parody.
Oh.
Like a legit sequel for real Harry Potter. We came up with what we think it should be.
Instead of Cursed Child?
Yes.
Cool. Tell it. Say it. Tell it. Story time.
I've already told John.
Yeah.
Alright, so this is Matt and I's pitch for a new Harry Potter. I'll try to tell it as quickly as humanly possible. You can pee, please.
No, say that. No.
Alright, so imagine, Harry Potter has happened. The whole story has happened, right?
Okay.
And you gotta think, how does the wizarding world get affected after the events of Harry Potter? And how is the wizarding world affected by modern day society? And Matt and I were thinking about this, and we were like, in modern day society, everyone has phones, and nobody had phones in Harry Potter.
It took place in like the early 90s.
It took place in the 90s, it turns out, I guess. So, so we said phones would probably be the bane of the wizard's existence, because you go like, how easy is it for a muggle to get a picture or a video of somebody walking through a wall, and then they can post it to all of the world to see, and it can spread like wildfire. So we all know that Hermione Granger becomes the Minister of Magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we said, in the future of Harry Potter world, what if Hermione just spends so much of her time dealing with phones to where she has to like have all of this stuff where she has to like have all this legislation about like trying to govern where wizards can go, all this stuff, and like making deals with phone companies to erase certain videos and things like that. And she hates all this stuff. It's driving her nuts. But then we said, what would happen to kids in the wizarding world? Because we were like, you know what kids love is the internet, and they love social media, and they love Twitter, and well, do they love Twitter anymore? I don't know. But they love things like that, and we said, after the events of Harry Potter, wouldn't it be interesting if the stigma against Muggles was now gone? Because now all of the racist Death Eaters are like gone. So now all the wizards are like, you know what? Maybe actually Muggles are not inferior to wizards. And maybe living a Muggle life doesn't mean that you are living an inferior life. So we said, what if there were kids that, when they were young, they decided, you know what? I actually don't want to be a wizard because I want a phone, and I want to go see movies, and I want to watch TV, and all these things that wizards don't do. So we were like, what if, so imagine it's now however many years, like 30 years after Harry Potter, okay? And we start with a girl. Let's call her Kendall. So Kendall is a girl. She lives in Britain. She turns 11 years old. And on her 11th birthday, she gets an owl comes and drops her Hogwarts acceptance letter. Her mom goes, oh my goodness, Kendall, you've just gotten your letter. Aren't you so excited? And Kendall goes, yeah, about that. I think we need to talk. And then her mom is in bed with her dad. And her dad is a muggle, and she's a witch. And she's just going like, I can't believe that Kendall doesn't want to go to Hogwarts. And she's like, and she's so upset. And she's like, Kendall wants to live as a muggle, and I just think she's going to regret that decision. And the dad starts going, oh, really? Okay, so muggles, I guess, what's wrong with us? And so the mom goes, oh, okay. So then Kendall and her family do this ceremony where they clear out all their furniture in their living room, like this. And then they go, and Kendall's dressed up in her best. And they're going, all right, Kendall, stand up straight, all this stuff. And then apparates into their living room is this like big podium thing, and there's like this frog creature sitting on it, and he's like doing all this paperwork, and he's like, all right, now we have case number 100,282, and he has like a little assistant who's typing stuff down on a typewriter. She's going, and they say, all right, Kendall, you don't want to be a witch? And Kendall's like, no, sir. And then they go, all right, good. And they stamp a paper, and then they have a bowl full of these things that are like these little like leech worm things. And they pull them out. There's these slimy little things. And imagine this is like a pest in the wizarding world that they have eradicated for many years because it burrows into your ear and eats your magic so that you can't do magic.
Checks out.
And they used to eradicate these things, but now they breed them because all of these kids, like Kendall, are choosing to live as muggles. So they're like, they can't have their magic anymore. So they do this ceremony where they then stick this worm thing into their ears, and the worm thing goes into their brain and eats their magic so they no longer have magical abilities. So Kendall does it. Then we cut to, she's 15. She's on the rugby field. She's in school. She's playing rugby, and then a bunch of people jump on her, and she's going, and she's struggling to get them off, and then her magic goes poof, and it knocks everybody off of her, and the magic is so intense that the worm goes pew, and it shoots out her ear.
So it just lives in there.
It lives in her ear, and it shoots out her ear, and she goes, no. She's chasing the little worm, trying to pick it up and shove it back in her ear, and then it wriggles out of her hands and jumps into a pond and goes and swims away, and she goes, no! And then the ministry comes and they take her, and the ministry starts going like, I'm so sorry, Kendall, but those worm things aren't going to work on you anymore because your magic is too powerful, and you're 15 now. You have to learn how to control your magic. So I'm so sorry, but you have to go to Hogwarts. And then she goes to Hogwarts, and Hogwarts is now in this world completely run down because because nobody wants to go there, and all the kids are choosing to go be on their phones and stuff. And Hogwarts is now dirt poor. The castle's falling apart, everything like that, and all the kids are coming in, and it's all kids that don't want to be there. So it's all kids that like are delinquents and people whose magic is too powerful to control and things like that. So like Kendall walks in, she's 15, and she's like, I can't believe I gotta go get sorted with all these little kids. and there's one little kid that's being dragged towards the hat going, no! Because he's so afraid of this living hat. And the hat, like, the kid doesn't even get to the hat, and the hat goes, oh, I don't need to, he's a Hufflepuff, okay? He's a Hufflepuff. I don't need to be on his head, he's a Hufflepuff. And so
sorting hat is just over.
So then the hat sits on Kendall's head, and of course, Kendall is sorted into Gryffindor, because that's the house of the good guys. So she goes to the table with Gryffindor, and she goes, what's going on? And there are only like 12 people at the table in the Great Hall. And because you got to think, at Hogwarts, the attendance is not like divided evenly of like these people go, it's not an even number of people in houses. It's their personalities dictate what house they're in. So Gryffindor is the least attended house because all of the Gryffindors are the ones that are bravely integrating with Muggle society. All the house that has way more attendance than anyone by far is the Slytherins, because the Slytherins are still racist who think that wizards are better than Muggles. So there are so many Slytherins, and they're like cool and all this stuff. And in the movie, the headmaster is played by John Oliver. He's the new young headmaster of Hogwarts.
J.K. Rowling was his understudy.
Watch this go viral, and then he gets like an offer.
So he's like, hello and welcome to Hogwarts. and who comes? Who comes to give the welcoming speech is Hermione. the Minister of Magic herself, and she's like the only returning character. And maybe Neville is there as a teacher, but Hermione gets there, and Hermione is like, "Hello, I'm the Minister of Magic," and everybody is not paying attention to her, going, "Ooh." Well, all their phones get taken away all their phones get taken away when they go to Hogwarts, and and a few things have changed as well in the Wizarding world. Wands now all have locks on them because when Hermione became the Minister of Magic, she was like, "Why are we giving children lethal weapons in school? Like they can cut each other open and all this stuff." So now there are locks on all children's wands that won't let them do unforgivable spells. So they can't do certain spells and all this stuff, and they go lame. And so Hermione's saying like, "Welcome to Hogwarts. I know that many of you don't want to be here, but I think if you give it a chance, it could be some of the best years of your life." And somebody throws food on her face, and then she's like wiping off the food. And there's a scene where she's talking to the headmaster, and the headmaster goes like, "Oh, it's so nice to see you again, Hermione." And she goes, "Oh, and how yes, we met at that function, right?" And then he goes, "No, we went to Hogwarts together." And then she goes, oh, yes, you were in Hufflepuff? And he goes, "No, I was a Gryffindor. I was there at the Battle of Hogwarts with you. Watched my best friend die right in front of me. I was there." And she goes, I'm so sorry. I was busy." And he goes, It's all right. And so immediately Kendall is like kind of a problem child because she doesn't like being there. She misses her phone. She misses her friends. She does all this stuff.
Rugby.
She misses rugby. And also, she's like, "At least I get to play Quidditch." But Quidditch has been banned at Hogwarts because too many children have fallen off their brooms and broken their legs, and it's super dangerous. So Quidditch has been banned at Hogwarts. Kendall hates that. Kendall hates all this stuff. But and Kendall immediately is trash talking wizards, all this stuff, and the Slytherin boys hear this. And there's one Slytherin boy. Let's just call him, I don't know, Malleus. Who knows? Malleus, the Slytherin is like, "Hey Kendall," and he's like 15 too. He's like, "Hey Kendall, the Slytherins are having a party tonight. Why don't you come to this party that we're having?" And she goes, "All right, finally something cool." So she goes to the Slytherins' party, and where the Slytherins have their party is in the Chamber of Secrets. And they're all like drinking butterbeers on the skeleton of the basilisk and stuff. And so Kendall gets there, and she's like, "All right, guys, I'm ready to party." And then Malleus is like, "Oh, you're not here to party. You're here to duel me." And he takes out his wand, and he's like, "If wizards suck so much, beat me in a fight." And so Kendall doesn't know how to use any spells or anything like that. She starts to try to fight him, and he's just like knocking her around with his wand and everything. And she's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." And then after he like totally beats her in this duel, he goes, "Wizards are better than Muggles. Wizards are the best. Never forget it." And so, but remember Malleus, because he's going to come back in the story. So,
this is really thought out.
This is that Matt and I spent a day making it up. So essentially, I'll try to wrap it up. So what is going on in? At some point, just a funny little bit. There's a part where Kendall has to go to the headmaster's office because she gets in trouble, and John Oliver is talking to her. "So Kendall, how do you like your time at Hogwarts?" And she looks, and on next to the thing, there's just a bowl full of ashes, and she goes, "What's that?" And then he goes, "Oh, that's Fox the Phoenix." And then she goes like, "Well, isn't what's wrong with them?" And he goes, he's dead. And then she goes, I thought phoenixes live forever. And he goes, they do, until they die. So Fox, he's like, I haven't thrown out the ashes yet. I just moved in and stuff. His office is a mess. And what is happening at Hogwarts is that they're running out of money so bad that they have started selling off the land around Hogwarts. So Kendall gets in trouble. She has to go to detention, and in detention, she has to go into the Forbidden Forest and relocate all of the magical creatures that live there. So she has to like go and knock on like little doors, and a little thing comes out and says, hello. She goes, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to move. She sold this whole thing, and they say, but my family's lived here for 100 generations. And they go, I'm so sorry. And they go, and so she has to do that because they've sold a chunk of the Forbidden Forest to a Muggle development company, and they're going to build a neighborhood there. And so there's this construction going on. And there's like a protection spell around Hogwarts, right? No Muggles can see Hogwarts. It doesn't show up on maps or anything like that. And but all the Slytherin boys in this story are essentially going like, these Muggles are getting too close to Hogwarts. So one of the new classes that they're teaching is astral projection. So at night, all of the Slytherin boys are astral projecting their spirits out of their bodies to go and scare the Muggles away, to say, this place is haunted, go away, and all this stuff. So they are trying to protect Hogwarts because they love wizards, and they love the wizarding world and all this stuff, and they're like, Muggles getting too close to Hogwarts is a bad thing. We can't let the Muggles find out about wizards. And essentially there's a big movement going on in the wizarding world where some people are saying, let's integrate with the Muggle society. Let's come out of hiding and integrate with them. And Hermione is a big person saying, let's not do that. Let's not do that. We may have lost our stigma against Muggles, but Muggles definitely will not have lost their stigma against witches and wizards and things like that. And they outnumber us so greatly. And so there's a new teacher at Hogwarts. I'm so sorry. This is now, we have 4 minutes left. So there's a new teacher at Hogwarts who is teaching a new class called Magitech. And she is a teacher that her whole idea is she's going like, what if we combined Muggle technology with wizarding magic and made like the best of both worlds. So she has this new class, and she is Kendall's favorite teacher. And she has developed some sort of device that's like a wizard version of a phone. And she uses this to do all of her spells. And it turns out that she is actually a squib who cannot use magic except for when she uses her Magitech. And throughout the whole thing, there's like, is the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher a bad guy? And we think the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher should just be a vampire that should just look like Nosferatu and say, who better to teach the children of the dark arts than a creature of the dark arts and of the darkness. And so there's like something going on, and essentially what it turns out in the first movie is that the Magitech teacher turns out to be the bad guy. And she is trying to break the protection spell around Hogwarts so that she will expose Hogwarts to these Muggles that have this town next to Hogwarts. And so she is essentially saying, we need to integrate with Muggle society. And sure, maybe it'll lead to some violence, but I think that it's a necessary violence and we need to do it. And at first Kendall sides with her, but by the end of the story, Kendall needs to start siding with Hermione, because Hermione says it's not just wizards, but it's also wizards take care of dragons and trolls and all of these things. And like the thing that muggles do with any resource, they exploit it and they destroy it. And we wizards are the protectors of the magical world. So we need to protect our secrecy, not just for our sake, but for all of these creatures' sake and things like that. So eventually Kendall needs to side with her, and then Kendall needs to start loving Hogwarts by the end. And Kendall's romance is with Malias in the thing. And she needs to learn to love Hogwarts and try and get other kids to love Hogwarts as well. And so the story is about Hogwarts coming back from sucking for a while.